Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
My first guest, Niamh Carolan, is the marketing manager for Wells House. Niamh, before we discuss some of the new markets which Wells is looking at, for those of our listeners that have yet to visit this tourist attraction, what should they expect?
A bit of everything, really. We're a destination for you to just come and have a fun day out. So we have a lot of land with gardens and woodlands, animal farms. Just in the summer, it's great. We hold a lot of themed events like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party or the Teddy Bear's Picnic. We also have obviously the house itself. It was built in the late 1600s and remodelled in the 1830s. So we opened that up for Victorian live-in tours and afternoon tea. And then we also have our seasonal events like Halloween, which we open the house up for in the dungeons, and there's lots of theatre throughout the woods, and we also have Santa in the house. So there's a really wide variety of things for people to come and do all year round.
And at the age of 26, you're the marketing manager of one of the county's biggest and most successful tourist attractions. How do you feel about that?
I feel privileged, really. It is a big responsibility for me to keep delivering and to know really what the customer wants. But then at the same time, I feel like I moved to Wales when I was 5 years old, so I've known it now for quite a long time. So I feel like I have knowledge about the place that not many other people would, or not many other people get to see. Like 6 a.m. in the morning, I get pretty good pictures, or at night when it's closed, you know, that kind of thing, that where you could get ideas about things that maybe you wouldn't if you hadn't been as exposed to it.
Now, of course, a house of that size and age must be capitally intensive from a maintenance perspective.
Yes, that is true. The proceeds that come in the gate really are invaluable. So our customers and the people that pay to come and see us day in, day out, that all goes back into the house. So we've been able to achieve massive things like fix a dry rot infestation. We were able to put new guttering on the house. We've opened 2 new bedrooms. We have a full team of maintenance staff that are there 365 days a year.
And obviously tourists account for a large proportion of your target market. Perhaps you can provide us with an overview of your typical visitor profile and whether they are local, national or international visitors.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mix actually. So we have a lot of local visitors all year round, which is great, returning customers that kind of make us what we are. We also get a lot of customers from all over the country, especially for our events. So we have a full calendar of events for the whole year, something going on every month, and that usually draws people from all over the country, which is really great to see. Say about 5% of our market come from overseas, but that's growing year on year. We get quite a few people from Spain, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and we are trying to develop markets into places like China and the US.
Now, many tourism related businesses in Ireland can be impacted by seasonality factors, but is the brand of cultural tourism offered by Wells House affected by this seasonality?
Yes, it is. Like all businesses, we're kind of busy when people are free. So we have such an array of events on during the summer, which is our busiest time really, July and August. It's great, the whole place is buzzing, and Halloween and Christmas, you get loads of people down and it's really beautiful to see. But yes, we are affected by seasonality, so it's just constantly trying to think of that into something new.
Where do you source most of your new ideas from for themed events?
Wow, that's a hard question. I suppose sometimes they're ideas, like I said, if you're strolling around at 6 a.m. and you have a thought, or it could be, you know, having good relationships with people, especially our customers. Some customer might come in and say, oh wow, did you ever think of doing this? And you might have thought, oh no, actually I didn't. And then it'll be on our next year's event calendar. We try to change up our events a lot, and again that's done with customer feedback or liaising with other businesses. It's particularly in Wexford, I think businesses are very open to sharing, so there are a lot of platforms where businesses can share with each other and come up with new ideas and new ways of doing things.
And do you get any inspiration from similar types of properties overseas?
Yeah, we do actually, I suppose, all the time. I myself lived in the UK for quite a long time and visited quite a lot of houses like ours, and there's always something. I suppose it's forever changing. You can always go somewhere and think, wow, could we do that? And just try and implement it as best you can, really.
Now, if you've just tuned in, I'm speaking to the marketing manager of Wells House and Gardens, Niamh Carolan. Niamh, what works well for the business from a marketing perspective?
I think being interactive. I'm not so much concerned with trying to market or what we our prices or anything as such. I'm more interested in making sure people know what we have to offer and what our story is and the feeling behind it, why we do it. And hopefully if the customer understands that, they'll come down and experience what I'm trying to send out, really.
And in terms of strategic alliances, do you work with tour operators to promote Wells House as a tourist attraction?
Yes, we do. It's a really big and important part of our business, working with tour operators. We attend Mehel each year to make sure that we're putting ourselves out there, and we have specific packages for tour operators to make sure that we're as accessible as possible. It's another great way to spread your message, really, because there are people behind you that want to show their groups and want to show people the story that we have to offer. And so yes, we do. We work very closely and keep trying to invent and renew the offering for them.
Now, there's been a lot of hype about Ireland's ancient East, but in your opinion, has it delivered any tangible benefits for Wells House?
Yes, actually, it has. It's a new platform, and I think for something so new, it's done a lot in quite a short space of time. It's a platform given to us that's reaching internationally, and we're able to tell our story through it. I think especially for somewhere like Wells that is over 400 years old, you know, it is a story. It is telling our story, a rich history. It's a way that we can talk to people we might not have been able to talk to before. And for example, our website is launching a blog soon about the stories of our past, and that wouldn't have been an idea, or it might not have been possible without the Ireland's Ancient East.
And apart from that, have you received much support from agencies such as Failte Ireland and Tourism Ireland?
Yes, we have, constantly, and I'd say since the beginning it's always been a massive part of what we do. It's been a massive support. They've just always been there and always been able to help or promote and get involved, not just with Wells of course, but just on a local level with businesses across Wexford and across Ireland. And even indirectly they've provided a platform for businesses to work together and to create new ideas together, and it's been invaluable, really.
How important is it for Wells House to continue to innovate its service offering in a crowded marketplace? And do you have any examples of this innovation?
Yeah, well, it's extremely important. You know, the tourism market grows and grows, and every year there's new ideas. Every day you see new offerings. So, for example, we have revamped our ferry walk. So now we've got a lovely castle down there, and we're constantly coming up with new games and new ideas. And it's also expanding the market, so new attractions, and we've got new installations at Wells constantly, coming up with new events. So our 2018 events are different to last year, and it's just about keeping up with our customers and seeing what's out there and how we can deliver what they want, and also expanding out to new customers. So we're going into the weddings market, and my goal really is to open the house up. I want people to come and see the house, so we won't be open just for tours anymore. I want it to be, when there's an event, the house is the event, if that makes sense. So a lot more interactive. So
Niamh, as you mentioned, Wells House has recently taken the decision to open Robertson Hall as a wedding venue. What was the thinking behind this? Because many would think that the wedding market is quite a saturated market as it is.
Yes, it is a saturated market, but my view of it is that, you know, we need to give people choice. Everyone has their ideal dream or their ideal image for their special day, and so Wells itself is another unique choice. So it started because we opened the house up for weddings. It was always a natural thing. It just kind of happened, and then we thought, why not do the full day? We're doing everything now, from the ceremony to the afters, the parties. And then we kind of realised, oh wow, most weddings, or a lot of weddings, are over 50 people. So we need to be able to cater to a bigger audience. So that's where Robertson Hall came in. We started building in September, and it's turned around now and it's open already, and we're taking bookings for that venue.
How are you going to market the venue?
Good question. It's a new market for us, and especially it's a new market for me as well. And what we're doing is talking to people, just talking, seeing where couples we know that have been married, where they went. But we're looking at online sites like Weddings Online and, you know, great wedding magazines. We're reaching out that way. We're also reaching out through social media. It's a really big platform. We have a new Instagram specifically for weddings called Weddings at Wells. So we're finding that's gaining traction as well. It's different, but it is something, you know, for a market, like you said, that is quite saturated. There's endless options for marketing.
And in a further diversification strategy, the venue is now available to host corporate events.
My background is corporate and property development. So I really, when I came to Wells really saw the potential for, again, offering something unique and something different. So we're also marketing the venue for corporate events, like you said, but for anything from private dining in the dining hall of Wells to Christmas parties, conferences, think-in facilities. You know, there's a beautiful library in the house that offers a really beautiful setting for think-ins or just brainstorming. And then we can do anything from conferences from like as small as 12 people up to 160. So the possibilities are just endless. And so I just thought, why not?
And finally, looking to the future, is there an opportunity to add accommodation to the Wells House and Gardens offering?
Yes, it goes without saying there definitely is. It's something we did before. So back in the 90s, we used to have accommodation on site. And then when Wells reopened in 2012, because of it was aimed more at the family destination, it's not something we focus so much on. But now with the new markets, especially with the weddings, it's one of those things we are looking at developing, but it's also something we need to take our time with. So we want to see how we get on, what the market wants, what kind of requests are coming in, and then kind of go from there. But it's definitely a possibility for the future.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.